Its massive alien ship descended slowly, hovering over the open field outside Seoul, as crowds gathered at the safety perimeters. It had been 3 days since the vessels first appeared in Earth's orbit, and humanity had collectively held its breath. Admiral Chi, Han Ji-woo stood at attention as the ship's underside opened, revealing a ramp. Her palms were sweaty inside her formal white gloves, but her face remained calm. As head of Earth's hastily assembled First Contact Division, she carried the weight of humanity's future on her shoulders. "Steady," she whispered to her team. The aliens that emerged were tall and blue-skinned with multifaceted eyes that reflected the morning sunlight in rainbow patterns. Their delegation approached with fluid grace that seemed almost theatrical. "We welcome you to Earth," Ji-woo said, bowing slightly. The lead alien raised a device to its chest. "We bring greetings from the Galactic Confederation, a peaceful coalition of 17 species." The translator made its voice sound unnaturally smooth. "We have watched your world with interest. The first meetings went better than anyone could have hoped. The aliens, calling themselves the Vrel, offered remarkable technologies. Clean energy systems, advanced medical devices, even promises of faster-than-light travel. All they asked in return were mining rights to a few uninhabited areas and cultural exchange programs." Back at command headquarters that evening, Ji-woo reviewed the proposed agreements with her team. "Their offers seem too good to be true," she said to Dr. Kim Tae-min, their xenolinguist who had been analyzing the Vrel's communication patterns. Tae-min nodded slowly. "I've noticed inconsistencies between their words and body language. Something feels off. Keep watching them," Ji-woo ordered. "I want to know what they're hiding." 2 weeks later, Earth's leaders were ready to sign the first treaties with the Confederation. The public was excited about the new technologies already being implemented in test sites around the world. But Ji-woo's unease had only grown. That morning, she received an urgent message from the research outpost on Mars. It was fragmented, sent on an emergency channel. "Discovered something. Not what they seems. Help," before cutting to static. When she reported this to her superiors, they dismissed her concerns. "The Mars station has had communication problems for months," General Park insisted. "The signing ceremony is tomorrow. Don't create problems where none exist." The Confederation representatives were equally dismissive. "Your Mars equipment is primitive. We would be happy to upgrade it after the treaties are finalized," their ambassador said, with what seemed like a smile. That night, Ji-woo made her decision. She gathered 4 trusted crew members and quietly took a military shuttle heading for Mars. "This is career suicide," her friend and pilot officer Choi Jin-young said as they left Earth orbit. "If I'm wrong, I'll accept the consequences," Ji-woo replied, watching her home planet shrink behind them. They approached Mars using minimal power, coming in from the planet's far side to avoid detection. The landing was rough. Jin-young had to manually override systems to keep them off official tracking. The research outpost appeared normal from outside. Too normal. No movement, no routine maintenance activities. Wearing environmental suits, Ji-woo's team entered through an emergency airlock. The main lights were off, but equipment hummed throughout the facility. "Life signs detected in the main research bay," whispered Medical Officer Kang Min-ji, checking her scanner. They moved carefully through the silent corridors. Ji-woo felt her heart pounding as they approached the bay doors. What they discovered inside made her blood freeze. 20 Earth scientists worked methodically at stations around the room, but their movements were mechanical. Each had a small metallic device attached to the base of their skull. Their eyes were open but empty. "They're being controlled," Min-ji whispered in horror. Behind the working humans stood 2 Confederation supervisors from a species they hadn't seen before, reptilian and tall. They were examining mineral samples that definitely weren't part of the outpost's official research. Ji-woo signaled her team to retreat before they were spotted. Back in the corridor, Security Officer Yoon Min-ho showed her his scanner readings. "Those aren't ordinary minerals. They're extracting elements that don't even appear on our periodic table." "Take images of everything," Ji-woo ordered. "We need proof." As they were about to leave, an alarm blared. "Intruder alert," announced the facility's AI. "Run!" Ji-woo commanded. They barely made it back to their shuttle, pursued by the blank-eyed scientists and their alien controllers. Officer Jin Young piloted them out at dangerous speed, narrowly avoiding energy blasts from a previously hidden defense system. As they raced back toward Earth, Ji-woo reviewed the evidence they'd gathered. The Confederation wasn't offering partnership. They were planning colonization. The cultural exchange programs would likely be neural control devices, the uninhabited areas just the beginning of their resource extraction. Send this data on all emergency channels, she told Communications Officer Ryu Daiho. Every government, every news agency. The Confederation will deny everything, Daiho warned. Let them try, Ji-woo replied, her jaw set with determination. But the truth needs to come out before those treaties are signed. As Earth grew larger in their viewscreen, Ji-woo knew the real battle was just beginning. The Confederation had revealed their true nature, and humanity would need to prepare for what came next. Ji-woo's shuttle approached Earth space to find chaos. News of what her team discovered on Mars had reached home before them. The Confederation's diplomatic vessels were pulling back from Earth orbit, moving to defensive positions. Global news stations played the images from Mars non-stop. Earth. Scientists with control devices attached to their necks, mining strange minerals for alien masters. Public panic spread quickly. As Ji-woo's shuttle docked at the orbital station, armed security forces greeted them. Admiral Han Ji-woo, you are ordered to appear before the United Earth Defense Council immediately, said the lead officer. The council chamber was packed with representatives from every major nation. Screens around the room showed military leaders and scientists joining remotely. The atmosphere was tense as Ji-woo entered. Admiral Han, began Council President Kang, your actions have created an international crisis. With respect, Madam President, the crisis already existed. I simply exposed it, Ji-woo replied, standing tall despite her exhaustion. She presented the evidence her team had gathered. Dr. Lee Sun-ha, Earth's leading xenobiologist, confirmed the neural control technology was unlike anything humans had developed. These devices bypass the conscious mind and connect directly to motor functions, Dr. Lee explained. The victims remain aware, but unable to control their actions. Defense Minister Park Do-hyun stood up. Admiral Han's findings confirm our worst fears, but we face a difficult situation. Our military technology is far behind the Confederation's capabilities. As if on cue, every screen in the chamber flickered. The blue face of the Confederation's ambassador filled the displays. People of Earth, the alien said, its voice no longer smooth but cold and commanding. Your intrusion on Mars has violated our agreement. Your species has proven untrustworthy. Thar Ji-woo clenched her fists. There had never been an agreement about Mars. The Galactic Confederation requires resources your planet possesses in abundance, the ambassador continued. We preferred a cooperative approach, but we are prepared to take what we need. The screen switched to show massive Confederation warships moving into position around Earth. You have 24 hours to surrender control of your resource-rich territories, your Arctic regions, deep ocean floors, and major mineral deposits. Confederation administrators will oversee extraction operations. Your populations will be allowed to continue their existence in designated zones. The council chamber erupted in outrage. And if we refuse? President Kang asked, her voice steady. Despite the threat, then we will demonstrate our power in a way you cannot ignore. 24 hours, humans, choose wisely. The transmission ended, leaving stunned silence. Minister Park was the first to speak. Their weapons can penetrate our strongest defenses like paper. Fighting would be suicide. So we surrender our planet without a fight, demanded the Russian representative. As arguments broke out, Dr. Lee approached Ji-woo quietly. Admiral, during your time on the Mars base, did you gather any biological samples from the aliens? Ji-woo nodded. Officer Kang collected tissue samples from surfaces the reptilian supervisors touched. Why? Dr. Lee's eyes lit up. I need those samples immediately. There might be something we can use. 6 hours later, Ji-woo and Dr. Lee stood before the council again. The Confederation species share a unique cellular structure, Dr. Lee explained, showing magnified images. Their cells contain a particular type of organelle that human cells don't have. It's likely related to their telepathic abilities. How does this help us? President Kang asked. This structure is also their weakness. My team has identified compounds that could disrupt these organelles without harming human tissue, not lethal, but severely disabling. Hope flickered across the room, but Minister Park remained skeptical. Even with this knowledge, we have no delivery system that could penetrate their shields, and developing one would take months we don't have. Before anyone could respond, alarms blared throughout the chamber. The main screen switched to a live satellite feed of Auckland, New Zealand. A pinpoint of light descended from the Confederation flagship. When it touched the city center, a blinding flash erupted. When the light faded, where Auckland had stood was now a perfect, smoking crater. "This is but a sample of what awaits those who defy us," the ambassador's voice announced over the emergency channels. "You now have 18 hours to comply." Silence fell over the council chamber. Millions had just died in seconds. President Kang looked around the room, her face ashen. "We need options, now." Jiwoo stepped forward. "Madam President, I request command of our defense forces." "To do what, Admiral? Lead a suicide mission?" "No," Jiwoo said firmly. "To show the Confederation why humans are not to be provoked." She outlined her plan quickly. It was desperate and risky, combining Dr. Lee's biological discovery with unconventional tactics no alien would expect. "They believe we'll either surrender or attack directly," Jiwoo explained. "They don't understand human ingenuity or our will to survive." President Kang looked at the smoking crater on the screen, then back at Jiwoo. "You have 12 hours to prepare, Admiral. Make them count." As Jiwoo left the chamber to begin preparations, she received a message from Dr. Lee. "Meet me in lobby." "7. I found something else in the samples, something that could change everything." The clock was ticking. Earth's future hung in the balance. Admiral Jiwoo stood in the command center, surrounded by screens showing Earth's defenses being mobilized. 12 hours had passed since Auckland's destruction. The Confederation ships hung in orbit like giant predators, waiting for humanity's surrender. "They expect us to either give up or launch a direct attack," Jiwoo told the gathered military leaders. "We will do neither," she pointed to the tactical display. "While their attention is on our military bases and missile sites, we've been quietly repositioning our real response." The plan was unlike anything in military history. Civilian cargo ships had been quickly modified to carry Dr. Lee's biological agent. Weather satellites were reprogrammed into targeting systems. Commercial space tugs were now carrying specialized electromagnetic pulse devices. "The Confederation has studied our weapons," Jiwoo explained, "but they haven't studied our people." Dr. Lee entered the command center, carrying a tablet with her latest findings. "The disruption agent is ready. It will affect all 17 Confederation species, but is harmless to humans and Earth life." "Will it kill them?" asked General Kim. "No," Dr. Lee replied. "It will disrupt their telepathic network and cause extreme disorientation. Think of it as a massive case of motion sickness. They'll be too busy being miserable to fight effectively." Jiwoo nodded. "Our goal isn't to destroy them, but to force them to recognize us as equals, not resources to be harvested." The countdown timer reached 0. The deadline had arrived. The main screen activated, showing the Confederation ambassador. "Your time has expired. What is your answer?" President Kang stepped forward. "We do not negotiate with those who would enslave us or destroy our cities. Humanity will not surrender." The ambassador's multifaceted eyes glittered. "Then you have chosen extinction. Prepare for—" The transmission cut off as Jiwoo gave the signal to begin Operation Thunderstrike across Earth's orbit, seemingly abandoned. Satellites suddenly activated, releasing clouds of reflective particles that blinded Confederation sensors. Commercial communications networks switched to emergency protocols, flooding space with signals that confused alien targeting systems. "Phase 1 complete," reported Commander Yoon from his position at Lunar Base. "They're blind." "Launch phase 2, ordered Jiwoo. The cargo ships that had been quietly positioning themselves released their payloads, thousands of small drones carrying Dr. Lee's biological agent. Too small to trigger Confederation weapons systems, they attached to the hulls of the alien vessels and began releasing the compound into their air filtration systems. On the main screen, they watched as confusion spread through the Confederation fleet. Ships began moving erratically. Some fired weapons, but at empty space. Phase 2 successful, Jiwoo announced. Begin Phase 3. This was the most dangerous part. Fighter pilots launched from hidden bases across Earth, flying directly toward the disoriented Confederation ships. These weren't conventional attacks. Each fighter carried specialized equipment designed to hack into alien computer systems. Remember, fly the patterns exactly as practiced, Jiwoo instructed over the comm. They think human pilots won't sacrifice themselves. Show them what we're willing to do for our home. The pilots executed maneuvers that Confederation tactical computers had deemed irrational and suicidal during simulations. Ships twisted and turned in ways that stressed both machines and human bodies to their limits. Several fighters were lost to defensive fire, but most reached their targets. "We're in their systems," reported the lead pilot before her fighter was hit. "Uploading the virus now." The virus wasn't designed to destroy, but to expose. Across Earth, people watched as their screens showed the truth. Images from thousands of worlds the Confederation had pacified before, their resources stripped, their people enslaved, or worse. These transmissions also went to other worlds beyond the Confederation's control, potential allies who needed to see what humanity was fighting against. In the command center, Jiwoo watched as the Confederation's largest warship suddenly powered down its weapons. "They're retreating," someone shouted. "No," Jiwoo corrected. "They're regrouping. This was only our first move." She turned to Dr. Lee. "How long until they develop countermeasures for your biological agent?" "Days, maybe. Their biology is advanced, but follows predictable patterns. I'm already working on variations they won't expect." Jiwoo nodded and addressed the room. "We've survived the first wave, but make no mistake, they will return. And when they do, they'll be prepared for what we did today." She walked to the tactical display, studying the retreating Confederation ships. But they still don't understand what they're facing. They think this was our best effort, our greatest weapons. A small smile crossed her face as she watched Earth's defenders cheer their temporary victory. They have no idea what humans are capable of when protecting what we love. Next time we won't just defend, we'll take the fight to them. President Kang approached Jiwoo quietly. "Auckland was just the beginning. There will be more losses before this is over." "Yes," Jiwoo agreed solemnly, "but today we showed the galaxy something important." "What's that, Admiral?" "Why humans are not to be provoked." 3 weeks passed since humanity's first successful defense against the Confederation. The alien fleet had withdrawn to the edge of the solar system, but hadn't left. They were watching, planning, adapting. Admiral Jiwoo studied the tactical displays in the underground command center. The brief victory had given Earth time to prepare, but everyone knew the Confederation would return stronger than before. "They're modifying their ships," reported Commander Yoon, pointing to the latest satellite images. "Those new structures are probably designed to filter out our biological agent." Jiwoo nodded grimly. "Dr. Lee predicted this. That's why we need the next phase ready immediately." The door slid open and Dr. Lee entered, looking exhausted but excited. Behind her followed Officer Kang Min-ji, carrying a sealed container. "We've done it," Dr. Lee announced. "The new formula targets their neural pathways directly. It won't just make them sick, it will temporarily block their telepathic abilities." Jiwoo looked at the container. "And this affects the Vrel specifically?" "Yes. Our analysis shows they're the central species, the ones who control the others. Break their connection, and the Confederation's command structure falls apart." A young lieutenant rushed into the room. "Admiral, urgent transmission from the Confederation." The main screen activated, showing not the blue-skinned ambassador they had dealt with before, but a new figure, taller, with grey skin and eyes that seemed to see through them. "People of Earth," the alien began, its voice deeper than the previous ambassadors. "Your resistance was unexpected. The Confederation recognizes your species has unique capabilities." Jiwoo signaled her team to trace the transmission while keeping her face neutral. "We are prepared to offer new terms," the alien continued. "We will spare your major population centers if you surrender your smaller nations and outlying territories for resource extraction." "Divide and conquer," Jiwoo whispered to President Kang, who had joined them. Classic strategy. President Kang stepped forward. The people of Earth stand united. We will not sacrifice any portion of our world. The alien's expression hardened. Then perhaps you need another demonstration, one targeting what your species values most. The screen split to show Confederation ships positioning around Earth's most precious historical sites, the pyramids of Giza, the Great Wall of China, Machu Picchu, the Taj Mahal. Your weapons and biological agents may have surprised us once, but we have adapted, the alien said. You have 6 hours to reconsider before we erase your cultural heritage from existence. The transmission ended. Silence filled the command center until Jiwoo spoke. They still don't understand us at all. What do you mean? Asked Defense Minister Park. They think threatening our monuments will break our will, Jiwoo explained. They don't realize that destroying what we value doesn't weaken humans, it focuses us. She turned to Commander Yoon. Is Moonbase Alpha ready? He nodded. Hidden. Exactly as planned. The Confederation still believes it was destroyed in their first attack. And Operation Shadow? The stealth ships are in position, Admiral. No signs of detection. Jiwoo faced the gathered leaders. What I'm about to propose is extremely risky. If we fail, there won't be a second chance. She outlined her plan. While Earth's regular forces created a diversion, Commander Yoon would lead a small team from Moonbase Alpha in specially designed stealth vessels to board the Confederation flagship. Their mission? Plant Dr. Lee's new formula in their central air system and download their complete command protocols. This is madness, Minister Park objected. The flagship will be their most heavily defended vessel, which is why they won't expect us to target it, Jiwoo countered. They think we're primitives fighting for survival. They don't realize we're fighting to win. President Kang considered the plan. The risk is enormous, but so is the potential reward. I approve the mission. 4 hours later, Commander Yoon and his team of 12 launched from the hidden lunar base. Their ships were unlike any ever built on Earth, incorporating what humans had learned from studying Confederation technology, combined with human ingenuity. Approaching target, Yoon reported quietly. No sign they've detected us. The stealth vessels attached to the flagship's hull like remoras on a shark. Using tools developed by Dr. Lee's team, they cut through the outer shell and entered the massive ship. Meanwhile, Earth's defense forces launched an apparent all-out attack on the Confederation's secondary vessels. The aliens responded exactly as Jiwoo had predicted, focusing their attention on the obvious threat. Inside the flagship, Yoon's team moved silently through dimly lit corridors. 2 team members were lost to automated security systems, but the remaining 10 reached the central air processing unit. Deploying the formula, Yoon whispered into his communicator. Moving to the command center. In Earth's command center, Jiwoo watched tensely as the operation unfolded. Everything depended on perfect timing. Suddenly, alarms blared from the tactical station. The Confederation ships are powering weapons. They're targeting the historical sites. 3 minutes ahead of schedule, Jiwoo noted calmly. Yoon needs more time. She made her decision. Launch Operation Firewall now. Across Earth, hidden defense systems activated, creating energy shields over the threatened historical sites. The technology was experimental, untested in real combat. The Confederation fired. Energy beams struck the shields, which flickered dangerously, but held. Then something unexpected happened. The flagship suddenly went dark, its weapons powering down. We did it, came Yoon's voice over the comm. Formula deployed. And, Admiral, we got something better than their command protocols. We found their entire tactical database. Jiwoo's eyes widened. Get your team out of there, Commander. Now. As Yoon's team raced back to their vessels, the flagship's systems began to reactivate, but something was wrong. The ship moved erratically, firing at empty space. The Vrel connection is broken, Dr. Lee said, watching the readings. They can't coordinate. Across the battlefield, Confederation ships fell into disarray. Some retreated, some continued fighting without strategy, some simply drifted. For the first time since the conflict began, Jiwoo allowed herself a small smile. Now, she said, we have a real chance. The Confederation flagship drifted in Earth. Orbit its once precise movements now clumsy and erratic. Commander Yoon's team had succeeded beyond expectations. Not only had they deployed Dr. Lee's formula, disrupting the Vrel's telepathic control, but they had also extracted the complete tactical database of the Galactic Confederation. In the U.S. Earth Defense Headquarters, Admiral Ji-woo studied the information flowing across the screens. The database revealed secrets the aliens had kept hidden, their shield frequencies, weapons limitations, and most importantly, their true command structure. The Vrel aren't just the leaders, Ji-woo explained to President Kang and the gathered world leaders. They're controllers. The other species aren't allies, they're servants, possibly even slaves. Dr. Lee nodded in agreement. The neural biology confirms it. The Vrel have subtle control mechanisms embedded in all Confederation species. They've built an empire of controlled races. That explains why their ships are in chaos now, Minister Park observed. Without the Vrel directing them, they don't know what to do. Ji-woo's expression remained serious. This advantage is temporary. We need to act now before they can reorganize. She outlined the final phase of Earth's response, Operation Daybreak. Using the Confederation's own tactical data, Earth forces would strike precisely at weak points in their defensive systems that their own engineers hadn't recognized. We don't need to destroy them, Ji-woo emphasized. We just need to show them we can. President Kang gave her approval. Launch when ready, Admiral. Earth's remaining military forces mobilized with new purpose. Fighter pilots who had studied the alien shield frequencies now knew exactly where to target their weapons. Ground-based energy weapons, quickly modified using the stolen data, could now penetrate Confederation armor. All units in position, reported Officer Choi Jin-young from her station. Ji-woo took a deep breath. Begin Operation Daybreak. Across the solar system, human forces struck simultaneously. The attacks weren't random or desperate. Each was calculated, precise, and devastating. Ships that humans shouldn't have been able to damage suddenly found their shields failing in specific sections. Communication relays between Confederation vessels went silent as hidden human satellites emitted jamming signals at exactly the right frequencies. On the main view screen, Ji-woo watched as a small human fighter squadron approached the still recovering flagship. The massive alien vessel tried to target them, but the human pilots flew in patterns that exploited blind spots in the Confederation's targeting systems, blind spots they shouldn't have known existed. "Look at them run," whispered someone in the command center as several alien ships began to retreat. "Not running," Ji-woo corrected. "Regrouping. This isn't over." She was right. 3 hours into the battle, the Confederation ships began moving with purpose again. A new transmission came through on all channels. The screen showed a different alien species, smaller than the Vrel, with 4 arms and skin that shifted colors like a chameleon. "Humans of Earth," the alien began. Its voice sounded different, less commanding, more conversational. "I am Ambassador Tano of the Melfin Cluster. We request immediate cessation of hostilities and open dialogue." Ji-woo exchanged surprised glances with President Kang. This was unexpected. "Why should we trust any Confederation representative after what you've done?" President Kang asked. The ambassador's skin rippled with blue patterns. "The Vrel leadership has been temporarily removed from command. Those of us from the outer systems have seized this opportunity to reassess our relationship with Earth." "They're fracturing," Dr. Lee whispered. "Without the Vrel control, the other species are breaking away." Ji-woo stepped forward. "We will consider dialogue under one condition. All Confederation forces must withdraw beyond the orbit of Mars immediately." To everyone's surprise, the ambassador agreed without hesitation. Over the next 24 hours, the remaining alien ships pulled back as promised. Continuous scans confirmed they were maintaining their distance. In a secure meeting room, Ji-woo met with President Kang and the Council. "They're afraid of us now," Minister Park said, unable to hide his satisfaction. Ji-woo shook her head. "Not just afraid. They're reassessing. The database Commander Yoon retrieved shows the Confederation has conquered thousands of worlds, but they've never encountered a species like humans before." "What makes us different?" asked one of the council members. Dr. Lee pulled up comparative data on the screen. Most species they encountered either surrendered immediately to superior technology or fought conventional wars they couldn't win. None responded like humans did. When threatened, we don't just fight back, we innovate, Jiwoo added. When they destroyed Auckland, they expected us to break. Instead, we became more determined. When they threatened our cultural heritage, we didn't panic. We focused our rage into something cold and effective. President Kang looked at the tactical display showing the withdrawn Confederation ships. Do you think they'll attack again? Eventually they might, Jiwoo admitted. But not in the same way. They've learned something important about humanity. 3 days later, a small diplomatic vessel approached Earth. Inside were representatives from 7 Confederation species, but no Vrel. They brought a formal peace proposal. As Jiwoo read the terms, she couldn't help but notice a new designation for Earth in their official documents. Protected Independent World, Special Classification H. What does the H designation mean, she asked the lead diplomat. The four-armed ambassador's skin rippled with what might have been embarrassment. It stands for High Caution, Indomitable Response Pattern. In simpler terms, it means Jiwoo. Finish the thought. Why humans are not to be provoked. The ambassador nodded solemnly. We have learned this lesson at great cost. We hope others need not learn it the same way.